I'm Craig Gillespie. I'm an ecologist working in the SAMDB region. My work contributes to conservation planning, as well as delivery of on-ground projects and support and assistance with that. That includes monitoring and adaptive management processes. But I work mainly with terrestrial ecosystems. All of that stuff involves interactions with BDBSA, which is quite important to all that stuff, but the process that I've chosen to relate to today is about using trends in species richness of bird records to indicate ecological function. And some of you might have spotted that that's part of a landscape assessment framework process for identifying conservation priorities. So that process for me usually starts with some new bird surveys, and that's to address gaps in previous survey effort, but also to update more recently surveyed areas, or less recently surveyed areas, I should say. That new data is first entered into a regional access database, and that's for validation of the data before it goes on to BDBSA and to do some initial analyses. That database has links with the BDBSA tables, and that's to ensure that my records have up-to-date taxonomy, that they're correctly attributed to previously visited sites that are already in BDBSA, and also to prevent duplicates and other problems like that. The database also sets up the data to export into pre-formatted data returns templates. So that's all sort of an fairly automated process for me. And I usually run those templates through the test environment to make sure, as a final check, that they're okay before forwarding it on to someone like Helen or Darcy Peters for entry into BDBSA. The next step is, once it's been refreshed to include my data, then I extract all the bird data via the fauna super table for the landscape I'm interested in. And because that super table has all the necessary attribute fields, I can then link that back to an MS Access database, use that to filter my data by record date, by capture method, reliability by ID and other things, and also to consolidate it to a certain taxonomic level that's important to what I'm doing and then set it up for a statistical analysis. So in terms of hurdles, I guess, I think a secure regional level database is really important, and that's, as I said, for validating the data and ordering it before it goes into BDBSA, but also to capture and be able to reconcile any non-standard data attributes that you might need for your project, and be able to reconcile that back to the data once it's in BDBSA. And also to keep track of what you have and you haven't submitted, and that's a really important part of the process. That requires a skill level, a certain set of skills to be able to set up a database like that. Luckily, I inherited a good database from my predecessors in the region, so I was pretty chuffed with that, but it still needs some maintenance. Another hurdle, I guess, I initially found the BDBSA test environment for testing the data appropriateness for getting it into the database a bit clunky and taking me a while to use it efficiently. Another issue I've had some time ago was trying to apply a similar analysis to what I've used for the bird data to pitfall trapping data from our region. I found that despite most of that data coming from the one project, it's a long-term project, because it's been submitted by different people in different years and been entered into the database by different people in different years, hasn't always been loaded in the same way. So there's been duplicate site records that have been created, and also sometimes the data was applied to a dedicated survey number for that project, whereas sometimes it was just gone generically into the scientific permit data project number. So that needs to be sorted out, and that's a bit of a hurdle that I haven't been able to overcome yet. All right, so the major benefits to my project from BDBSA are quite obvious. Provides a high level of confidence in the advice I can present to the NRM board and practitioners in my region, and this because it's a long-lived and central data repository with links to the permitting system, so captures data generated by students, professional academics, community groups, individuals, as well as government projects. It also has a rigorous but not too cumbersome set of data entry standards that lend both reliability and versatility to the data. So the end result is a pretty rich and reliable data set, at least for birds, in the areas that we need it. So my wish list is for smarter and more streamlined data input. That'd help me out a lot, but certainly people who don't use the database a lot. It is splendid to see the new opportunistic data capture apps being developed and possibility of customised apps. But it would be really good, I think, to have a more user-friendly bulk data load portal of some kind. The other thing it could use, I reckon there's a real opening for better collaboration between the regions and BDBSA in delivering support, especially to community-driven projects out in the regions to promote better data stewardship and data hygiene, particularly for those community projects.